Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7 a.m. Friday, October 24th. Right here on Jocks. Appreciate you being in. It is a Max Ball Friday. So we're going to go right into college football, and I'm going to go a little bit old school GMAC. Still happens to an extent, but used to be a lot more, I think, important, and people put a lot more emphasis on it. Key players for key games coming up this weekend. I'm going to give you the game. You give me 1, 2 players on each side of the football for both teams. I'll give you mine. We'll go through and why they're going to make an impact, why people need to be watching them. We'll start with Alabama at South Carolina, 2:30 ABC. For the Crimson Tide, a guy or two on both sides of the ball that you're kind of watching that you think are going to be critical as far as where and how this game is decided.
All right, you ready? I like this practice.
Well,
it always used to crack me up because I've heard this on radio for as long as I've listened to sports radio. Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, the first ever experience I ever had in sports radio. This was 1993. I was probably 5 years old, riding around with my dad in the back seat. And he'd listen to Lee Hacksaw Hamilton every day. And he would always play this game. And the guys, he'd be like, all right, the two guys I want to watch this weekend for the Raiders and the 49ers, Steve Young and it's like, yeah, of course the quarterback is an obvious pick. So you go South Carolina, Bama. It's like, all right, Ty Simpson and Lenora Sellers. Okay, give me a layer deeper, please. For me, the biggest matchup in this game, for sure, are the tackles against Dylan Stewart.
Yeah, I would have dialed in specifically more of the right tackle in just that situation, and it could be Stewart or Thomas, whichever one's over there.
With that?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. But I just think you said that there were really kind things that were said about the staff as far as Caden Proctor. I thought he played well last week. That the right tackle spot could be, especially if you start rolling him in this game, and that thing could get tricky in a hurry. So I was going to go right tackle and maybe even give you a sort of a different player that could help the right tackle, because I also think that the tight ends, when they're involved in the run game or the passing game, and the run game too for South Carolina, the offense looks a little bit different and just kind of looks better. So maybe like a Jordan Dingle or a Brady Hunt might be somebody that you watch in this game, just because I think they could sort of help it look different and be a little bit different. Maybe even a Maurice Brown. He's number 44, by the way, if you don't know. He is actually like a true fullback. He's the most enjoyable player on kickoff cover to watch in college football. The ball could be 5 yards out of the back of the end zone, and he is headhunting somebody to knock on their rear end on every kickoff cover. He's just fun to watch. Old school neck roll, not like old school, like my era neck roll, but like the one that like Reuben Foster had, not the satellite dish, but the other one. But yeah, he's just fun to watch. He could maybe be a fullback, H-back, tight end where he's helping chip over at different spots for this South Carolina offensive line, because with what we saw Yanze Pierre do, they're going to need some help as well. So maybe we just sort of qualify this as you can go tackles. I'll go like South Carolina helpers, bonus bigs, who are maybe going to prevent Alabama from trying to be able to get to Lenora Sellers.
Well, here's why I say both tackles for Alabama. While I do think Caden Proctor has improved, there's a lot that he's gotten better at. I think you acknowledge the exact same thing. There's improvement that's been made there. He still gets beat inside. That still happens. It still happens, and it does happen. Guess what? He knows that too. And I think that any single pass rusher he's playing against knows it as well. And Bama gets in that double chip protection that looks a little like empty with two overhangs. So they can chip both sides. But I think in a perfect world, you would rather, if Dylan Stewart is on the right tackle, you're probably using two guys. Double chip. You got tight end helping on the outside. You got a back potentially clean up on the inside. I think it's a double chip, triple team situation. If Dylan Stewart's lined up against your right tackle, at least for the first quarter or two. I think that no doubt about it. So I do think there could be scenarios where it's Caden Proctor in one-on-one. And that's not a winning recipe, but I think he might have to actually play one-on-one because the call will be made to account for Wilcom Formby or whoever the right tackle is to get some extra help. So I agree. I think for Bama going against South Carolina's offense, I'm going James Smith. I think interior pressure in this game can be very helpful, more than anything else. I think the guards are a liability. I think pressing the pocket up the middle, denting the pocket up the middle, and forcing Lenora Sellers to escape. I think the defensive tackles in loop contain, where the ends rush inside and the tackles loop outside because of how often he likes to escape horizontally. I think that can be very helpful in this game as well.
It's a good point. And James Smith, just based on how he's played this year, what he is against this offensive line, he has a chance to have a big day. Really big day. Because I would imagine that Mike Shule is going to want to get some of that inside zone going just to offset certain things. I thought that Oklahoma was a little hyper-aggressive on the initial read in the run game, where basically saying, we don't think you're going to let Lenore Sellers keep it 20 times. So if he gets us once or twice, okay, we're going to take away the other run. And they did that for the most part. And Sellers got one or two where he would pull it and got a couple decent carries, but they didn't think he was going to even have the opportunity to take over the game, and it was a good bet by Venables and company because they've been overly protective with him for the last couple weeks. And Shane Beamer's even told us, Greg, when we've had him, we've had him twice, and he said, we've got to run him. We can't hold him back. He's too important to what we do and too important to allowing other things to succeed. But James Smith had some really nice reps against Tennessee last week. I think he's one of the more underrated players in the SEC. He could be big in this game. So, and by the way, I don't know Mad Dog Madsen, who your guy is, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I don't know why he stole Jim Duggan's nickname. I've never heard this done on radio. I thought about it last night, and I was like, let's just do something totally different right off the top.
Oh, God.
Go into it. So thank you for ruining my creativity this morning.
Well, no, he's a legend. He's a legend, so you should take it as a Lee Hacksaw Hamilton is his name. And he used to get in there and be like, I want to talk sports with you. And he's like, he'd just do calls. And he'd go from NASCAR to tennis to NFL. Like, the guy was a star. And he was there he might even still be working. Like, he was a complete stud. And Los Angeles sports afternoon drive radio. Like, he was a complete star.
He sounds like my kind of dude.
You'd love this guy. I mean, he was all over it. Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Oh my gosh, look at this guy.
Oh, you Googled him. Okay, I'll look him up here in a second.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's keep this practice rolling here. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. on ABC, you get Ole Miss and Oklahoma, a game that looks very evenly matched up in different ways. Like, overall, I think that there's some real advantages for Oklahoma, some real advantages for Ole Miss. There are some concerns for both. Let's start with Ole Miss. A guy or two that you think has to be big, that you're going to be watching the way that we watch the game. You know, we're not just going to come in this and say, you know, John Mateer is our guy, or, you know, Kejuan Lacey. But where are we going with Ole Miss?
This one's a little tougher. I'm going to go, and I hate to kind of go down the same path. I think for sure the biggest difference maker in this game for Oklahoma is R. Mason Thomas. Like, R. Mason Thomas against the right tackle, I think is a bad matchup for Ole Miss. So I think for Oklahoma, R. Mason Thomas. I think for Ole Miss, it's easy to say Kejuan Lacey, but I'm going to go in a slightly different direction. I'm going to go DeJon Stribling, wide receiver. So Daquan Wright, I think, is a little banged up. We'll see, where he's at. He's on the injury report. I think he'll go. I don't know if he's at 85%, 90%, 95, or close to 100, whatever it's at. Doesn't really matter. But I think that Oklahoma has one good corner on one side, and he'll probably be spending most of his afternoon covering Harrison Wallace. I think on the other side, though, DeJon Stribling, who scored last week in the catch and run, showed a little run after catch I didn't know he had. I think DeJon Stribling against the freshman Guillory, that can be a matchup that Ole Miss can take advantage of.
Yeah, I love that because I was just going to kind of go Ole Miss or Oklahoma secondary in general because we talked about them earlier in the week. Based on the teams that Oklahoma has seen, do we even know what that secondary is? Michigan true freshman quarterback, Illinois State Temple, Auburn couldn't let go of the football, Kent State. Arch Manning was better in that game, but I don't think that he had been necessarily picking people apart up to that point. South Carolina, not a team that relies on throwing the football down the field, even though they have that capability. So I would just look at that group, and like you said, Deshaun Stribling and company, when they get the one-on-ones, not only are they going to take them, they can usually beat you, and you did see some run after the catch. So with as pressure-laden as Oklahoma's going to be, as hyper-aggressive as they're going to be, those DBs are going to be on islands. How are they going to manage that? How are they going to operate that? And then I think on the other side of that, you look at a guy that we've talked about at Ole Miss for a long time, GMAC, somebody who we absolutely love and think is probably one of the better football players in the league, if not the nation, just overall, Santarin Perkins. With John Mateer's ability to leave the pocket, I imagine that he will operate in a spy, green dog, trigger blitz capacity multiple times. Fastest football player on the team. So he'll be relied upon when Mateer does leave the pocket to be able to try to get him to the ground and remove some of those rushes. Didn't think Mateer left the pocket much for South Carolina last week at all. But if he does, they're going to need somebody to sort of be there to make sure those don't turn into big plays. So I'll probably go Perkins for the Ole Miss defense as the guy that I'll be keyed on for this matchup.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fair. I mean, Perkins, how do you assess Perkins' performance up to this point?
I think it's been fine. I think people are probably either going to poo-poo on it or sleep on it a little bit because he hasn't been given opportunities to make plays. I mean, you've watched all their games like I have. How many times, honestly, have you seen him rush the quarterback this year?
Not a ton.
Not a ton. I mean, he's out there in the flat. He's covering a tight end or a back in one-on-ones.
He still makes plays, and his coverage skills aren't bad. In man, he's not bad in coverage.
No.
He still makes plays, but you're right. As far as Hayden at 2-point cleats at 2-point stance coming off the ball, maybe 5 times a game.
Oh, no way. I don't think so. I mean, maybe the LSU game, but I don't think they've asked him to do that much, to be honest with you. You'll probably have to hit your telemetry and get his pass rush reps and see how many he's got this year. Because I don't think it's been that many, to be honest with you. I really don't.
I think as far as blitzing or green dogging, I'd say 5 times a game. And I don't know. Look, that's not traditional lineup, end of the line of scrimmage, pass rush.
Yeah.
That's not really.
That makes sense.
I'm talking more anytime he is rushing the quarterback via blitz and or a green dog and or delayed pressure. I'd say 5 times a game, which is very little compared to what it was last year. It's probably 15 times a game. You know what I mean? That was maybe more. I think, and this is going to sound crazy here, if we're going Ole Miss's defense for me, I'm going any backup defensive lineman.
Okay.
Literally. Any backup defensive lineman. Because if you look at the snap exposure of Ole Miss's starting D-line across the board, it's over the top. Those guys along the defensive line last week, I don't know exactly, but I bet you they were 70 plays in the game against Georgia. Xavier Harris, Will Eccles, I don't know exactly how many. Like I said, I'm going to look it up right now, actually.
There's not a lot of guys that they roll in. There's just not.
No. So what I think they're going to have to start doing, because they acknowledge that. They even said it in our conversations the other day. All right, so you have, last week, Xavier Harris, 63 snaps. Cam Franklin, 63 snaps. Will Eccles, 73 snaps.
That's a D tackle, folks, if you guys didn't know.
D tackles and D ends playing 63-plus snaps. And
think from a D tackle, Greg, think about what you're playing there. You're playing a heavy screen team. You're playing a quarterback run team. So zone read, quarterback leave the pocket outside. That's a lot of tracking players down at the same time. So,
oh my gosh! And you wonder why they couldn't stop the nosebleed there in the second half. Let me give you one more, just for comparison's sake. T.J. Daugherty, guess how many snaps?
I'm gonna go. Last week, Daugherty had 68 snaps.
84.
So he didn't come off the field.
no. They defended. I don't even know how to look up how many. Yeah, they defended 84 snaps. He played every single defensive snap, every single one.
Man,
So as crazy
they
as that
absolutely, yeah, they loved the Taj Chambers kid and the Jalen, who's the other one, Tyler Banks. They loved some of those new guys that they had when we had them in the opener too, and it sounds like they're just not able to give them much. Man,
no,
that's wild.
dude, think
Because
about that.
Daughtery's not like a super sleek, lighter linebacker either. I mean, he's a thumper.
He's a thumper. So I mean, look, it's not, and that's exactly my point. Is that, and this is just observations off the tape, and then in visiting with Ole Miss yesterday, they're like, yeah, our guys look tired there in the fourth quarter. I'm like, you think?
They looked tired in the first quarter too.
Yeah, they look tired, man. So, and it was perfectly fair, perfectly reasonable, and I don't blame them. Like, they were still in the game. Like, I want my best players on the field, too. And even if I have an 85% Xavier Harris or an 85% Will Eccles is better than 100% my backup, I still think you got to put the backups in at some point. So I think depth in a game like this against an offense that will utilize tempo, any backup defensive lineman is what I want to see from Ole Miss. I think they can be very important in this game.
There you go. And it's a great point, a great thought, something for folks to keep an eye on. That's a couple of games we've gotten through. We'll continue that practice throughout the course of the show today. Stanford Steve is going to break down some of the games. We'll give him the most ridiculous total of the week and see his thoughts on that. Before we go to break, though, do not forget about Train. Football season is moving on. And I can just tell you guys right now, I think I want to move to Lexington because it's going to be in the 40s towards the end of our game. Got off the plane last night. It was in the 50s. And I was like, this is fall. This is where we're supposed to be. These 90s and 80-something, I'm over it. I'm not mad about being in Lexington. We're having Kentucky every week for the rest of the year. We'll be good as long as we're up here. Protect your HVAC system with a checkup from a trained comfort specialist so when the cold weather hits, you'll have peace of mind you're protected by America's most reliable and trusted brand. Find a comfort specialist for you at train.com. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. Stanford Steve joins us next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It is 7:21 Friday, October 21st. Couple more games that we are going to try to run through here before we get to Stanford Steve, and just giving you our impact players that we're watching in some of these games coming up this weekend. Let's just go right to Auburn, Arkansas. GMAC, the weather has become a massive portion of the conversation with this game. Looks like it could be torrential downpour, potentially affect how things are going to operate in this matchup. I don't know if that gives either team a huge advantage. Probably, I would say Arkansas, just with Taylor Green's ability to leave the pocket. Not that Jackson Arnold can't, but he just seems to be a little bit better with it. 11:45 on the SEC Network. Start with Auburn. Just who needs to be good, great for Auburn to win this football game at Arkansas tomorrow morning?
I probably could pick 4 or 5 in this one, but in an effort to be simplified, gosh, I'm probably going. I don't think Auburn's going to be able to stop them. If you want my honest opinion, I think I think Arkansas will score. Do you agree here, or do you disagree?
Do I think Arkansas is going to score?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if we're on the same page with that, that means Auburn's going to have to score with them. And in that case, I think the most important guy in this game, if we're removing Jackson Arnold from the conversation, needs to be Eric Singleton. I think he's got a ton of juice. I think the secondary's fine. I don't think the secondary's great. I think this is a big opportunity to get Singleton a lot of touches. He's going to have a lot of make you miss. Arkansas has guys in the back end that have struggled with tackling. I think it's a big Eric Singleton game.
I can see that being critical and important for Jackson Arnold, just kind of making life easy, Auburn getting that offense going. From an Auburn perspective, because of what we just mentioned, because of what we just talked about, I'm going to start on the other side of the ball, and I think it's Xavier Atkins. Somebody who does give you some of those delayed pressures at times. Will wait, kind of see what the back's doing, and then maybe bring a little bit of pressure late. You kind of saw it against Purdue last week. His sideline-to-sideline speed, I think, against somebody like Taylor Green that can leave the pocket in different ways and still break you down. I think he remember the issues Auburn had getting him to the ground last year. It wasn't all getting to him, but getting him to the ground felt impossible. I mean, the amount of times that they had 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, and just literally could not. I mean, I remember that Sunday before we had that game, after that game, before the show on Monday, I went back and looked at how many I think he had like 9 conversions with his legs in that game. I mean, it was ridiculous what Taylor Green did. So I think Xavier Atkins, finding him, getting him to the ground, at least like leveraging the sideline, forcing him to run out of bounds before he gets a good gain. Like this, that's to me going to be absolutely critical in this matchup. Arkansas was 9 of 19 on 3rd down last year. So, and I think Taylor Green was a big part of it. He ran 18 times for 80 yards. He only had 151 passing, threw 2 picks. He didn't throw the ball well. They weren't great in the air, but his legs just broke him down. So I think Atkins, with what he has shown and the ability to sort of hover at the line of scrimmage and then make a move late, I think he's got to be big in this one, Greg, if they're going to sort of neutralize the impact that Taylor Green has.
See, I think that his contributions, by the way, Atkins, I think has been playing really good football this year. I think he's a great player. I think he's very important. I think all the linebackers. I don't know if I can single out Atkins over Riddick, over Woodyard, over Diaz, like any of them. Like to me, all those guys can be very important in a game like this. I think the defensive line is kind of rendered moot in this game. Like all of a sudden, all right, great, the D-line's awesome, but it's going to be hard for those guys throughout the course of the game to be able to defend, I think, this rushing attack. Like Petrino's going to hit and throw so many different things at him. Those guys are going to have a hard time, I think, having a huge impact. I think it's second-level players that have to play well. So I don't disagree with you with Atkins. I just would probably spread it out among all 3 linebackers because I think all of their impacts can be felt in this game throughout it because they're probably going to have to defend a lot of snaps.
And I think that makes sense, too. The other reason I throw that in is they have gotten much better with the inside zone play. A lot of that having to do with the backs, and I think Bobby's a little bit more committed to it the last couple of weeks. And with what they've done on the perimeter and through quarterback run, it's helped open it up some. So he's going to have to be big on that play also if he's going to get stops. I appreciate kind of where you went with Auburn's offense, too, because I think the only way to get Jackson Arnold going is to give him some high percentage throws. I would almost just say not so much a player, but quarterback run, designed run, like intentional quarterback designed runs. And last week is a perfect example. You're watching those defensive ends just hum up field and felt like you could sneak underneath them and steal yards, and it just felt like it was never called. It felt like it never happened. Now, it was a weird game the way that the series sort of went for Auburn's offense and the spots that they were in. You weren't going to be mad at them for taking some of the shots because they hadn't really taken the shots most of the year, and they were there for the majority of the time. But I think design quarterback run here, get him comfortable if it's Ashton Daniels. But I'm on board with you regardless from mindset. Quarterback needs to be confident for Auburn in this game. Now the noise is circulated outside the building of Ashton Daniels potentially playing. I mean, hell, Hugh threw out Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight the other day. So Jackson Arnold's hearing that now. He wasn't hearing this last week. We shared that with you, that we heard it in our TV meetings, but Hugh had not let anybody else aware of that before that. Now he hears it. That can be a problem. And if he doesn't get off to a good start, I think it could be a big problem, which is how things are handled, how things are managed. So we'll talk more about that game. Plenty of time to break it down. Tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Fu and his guys done it again. They continue to stockpile the inventory and pass the savings on to you. 50,000 square feet of Cortec flooring by Shaw that's in stock right now. It's amazing that they've accumulated that much. It really is. But it's also amazing that they're willing to pass those savings of 20 to 40% on to their customers. There's a reason why Fu and his guys have been serving this community for as long as they have, and there's a reason why they are the preferred flooring partner here for us on Jock. So go and check out Fu and his guys. You'll be glad you did by going to fooandyou.com. That's fooandyou.com.
Stanford Steve gives you his weekend winners next right here on Jocks. All right, Stanford Steve coming up here in just a moment. 7:30, 2 a.m. Friday, October 24th on Jock. Sam Shade, Alabama A&M head football coach, joins us in about 15 minutes to get you set for the Magic City Classic. Billy Lucci will talk Texas A&M at 9 o'clock this morning. We go to Stanford Steve, though, GMAC, each and every week, and he's brought to us by our friends at Atlas Senior Living.
Yeah, ATLASseniorliving.com. They are the premier senior housing community company, currently serving residents and families from 41 different communities all across the United States. Go and check them out, atlasseniorliving.com. And while you're there, you can join the Atlas Senior Living Public Pick'em Pool. You can click on the football banner, submit some winners, and win some money. The public winners from a week ago, Joe Smerglia, Brandon Bishop, and Terrence Davis. The Atlas resident winner, John Hamner from the Golden in Athens, Alabama. So shout out to those winners from a week ago. Go and join it today. Go to atlasseniorliving.com. Click on the football banner, submit some picks, and win a $150 Amazon gift card. Stanford Steve is always joins us every Friday, thanks to our friends at Atlas Senior Living. Steve, what's going on, my friend? Are you going to get some of the money back from your gambling games, since you were the whale that Chauncey Billups took advantage of? Just curious if you're going to get some money back from this whole scheme that's gone on.
Greg, growing up in Connecticut, you know those last names, and there's no way in heck I was ever showing up at a card game that had those last names involved. You know that.
Yes, Mr. Bomano.
Hold on. Hey, you really did you recognize those names, Steve? Because, I didn't. They sounded different to me. They weren't the ones that I normally would know.
No, those are the names, Cole. Those are the names in the Northeast. And, those were really, really familiar seeing those names. No doubt.
Crazy.
I said it on the show yesterday. I know he's a government official, but I was even nervous for that dude saying them in that press conference. No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Dicey. That was wild yesterday. I don't want to derail the segment, but I've never seen anything like it. Glasses that you could see the back of the cards. It's insane. I'm like, golly, we used to have. I swear, some of my boys back in the day when we played a lot of poker in ninth grade. My boys, because of how they were winning, they were stacking the deck. They had to have been. There's no way that you can get, 4 of a kind right out of the gate. So I think it was, of course, we were in ninth grade, and I think I lost $3 on that hand. So I wasn't going to go to the authorities. But crazy, man. Absolutely insane. I don't want to derail the segment, but that's where that is. And then the basketball. Rozier's making $290,000 a game. And he's given information to a guy that bet $13,000 on the props. What are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing?
Word that stuff's going to get around. I don't care who you are, to your point, what you're making, whatever, that kind of info. And then now with these IP addresses, man, they got you. They know exactly where you are, especially when you're trying to bet $200,000 on a player prop. They're going to get you.
Could you imagine betting $200,000 on a player prop?
I don't understand. It's just.
I couldn't imagine betting $200 on a player prop. That to me is insane. But
exactly.
I digress. It's absolutely insane. All right, moving on to some games this week. The card is kind of all over the place, Steve. I don't know how you see it. There's some that I love, and there's some that I'm like, that line doesn't make sense. Let's start with A&M LSU. That line doesn't make sense. I don't know how that line's 2.5. It makes no sense. What? I feel like everybody and their brother should sprint to the window and take the Aggies, which is why I'm like, dang, LSU's going to win. Vegas thinks LSU's going to win. Help me understand that.
Yeah, I think there's 2 ifs in that game, guys. I get it. You guys have played there. It's the best on a Saturday night. But then you look at the team that's the home team, normally you get in that stadium, right? You're fearing something that they bring to the table. And that defense without Whit Weeks last week against Vandy, the way they could stretch you really worries me. Against Marcel Reed. Plenty of people have opinions on Reed. I still think with the toys he has to play with, he's darn effective and dangerous. And when you look at A&M, it's only 2 road games, real road games. that they've played. And they scored 41 at Notre Dame, and they scored 45 last week. To me, what doesn't make sense is the A&M defense, with how good Elko is on third down and getting your eyes where they're not supposed to be, the talent he has. Cash has been awesome rushing the passer. But you look at them on the road, they've given up a ton to Arkansas, which is a good offense, and also a ton to Notre Dame, which is everybody's saying a playoff team now. So this to me, comes down to the A&M defense. They have to travel better than they have, knowing that I believe it's bye week, another road game, and then they don't play home until November 15th. So to me, this whole game comes on to A&M's defense. They can't get lit up against Nussmeier and that offensive line, who's down to tackle now. So if you're A&M, if A&M's going to be different, and A&M people keep being positive amongst all the frustrations they've had in years past, especially in the SEC, they haven't been great in Tiger Stadium. You go there and you win because of your defense against just an inopportune offense. So yeah, it's dangerous, but A&M, they have to win that game. But we've seen Tiger Stadium be different to visiting teams, especially at night.
Stanford Steve with us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Thanks to Atlas Senior Living each Friday. All right, two that I think are just inflated, and you tell me if you agree, disagree, where you would be on these two games. UCLA's been coming on just a little bit. 25.5 points. I get it's on the road, but that just feels like a ton to me in that game. Indiana's great. I get it. And then Georgia Tech, minus 16.5 against Syracuse. Syracuse hasn't been what we thought they were going to be. Obviously, quarterback situation in flux, but 16.5 feels like a bit too much there. Where are you on those two as far as maybe being too many points?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Cole, because when you look at what UCLA has done, since the coach firing and all that, it's been impressive. But it was just that bad before they made the move at head coach. Nico, I go back and watch the Maryland game last week. It's still not great. Like they got luck. They should not have won that game. And it's just typical Maryland can't close a game every fourth quarter. It's been a month now, and they could have a couple more wins. So I look at Indiana as really having a focus. I love what Cignetti said about this team's undefeated because they haven't lost under the head coach they have now. The Georgia Tech thing, I feel good what you're saying about Syracuse because I ranked, I think, Georgia Tech like 13 this week, and I get it. They're undefeated. They're kind of in the same regards as BYU. I'm not taking anything away from you, but what I need to see more. You have big road games coming up. You have bigger challenges. I need verification that you could do this, another month and get into November. So I'm wary of Georgia Tech giving all those points to Syracuse.
Yeah, it's a lot of points, and I just don't feel like Georgia Tech's built that way to just run you out of the gym. I think they're a grinded out football team, which to me is the ultimate compliment. But at the same time, I'm never going to be comfortable laying nearly 3 touchdowns with one team. One of the biggest upset specials of the weekend, I think, is Texas at Mississippi State. I think you got to be very careful if you're a Longhorn in this game. I think Mississippi State has really, really improved. I don't think they're great, but I think they can cause some problems for Texas along the defensive line. So how do you kind of handicap that one with Texas laying 7 on the road in Davis-Wade?
Yeah, we've seen them be good. I mean, the win by Mississippi State against the Arizona State team, who looked really good last week with Leavitt at quarterback, I will add. Beating undefeated Texas Tech. Mississippi State's real. I don't know what Blake Shapen and that offense was doing at the end of the game, but you got to live and learn. But I just think it's the glitz and the glamour of Texas football and how big it is, and we're going to come to the SEC. Like this is what you're getting in the SEC. You go to Lexington, and then the week later you're going to Mississippi State and Starkville. Like you better strap it up. And I just don't see that offense being effective on the road again. The lack of consistency in the pass game, the lack of consistency, whether it's run blocking or pass blocking. I think it's a prime spot for Mississippi State here, and I like them plus the points.
All right, I've got to ask you about it because it's out there, and it's one that I'm most interested in. Stanford Steve with this thanks to Atlas Senior Living every year. Minnesota at Iowa, 2:30 CBS, 39.5 the total. Which direction you going?
I just look at the point spread. I think I saw 8.5 still. I love what I saw from Minnesota. I know the numbers aren't great, against the run, but I still look at that talent and what they did to Nebraska last week at home in a big spot. But I like Minnesota plus the points. I don't see anyone like 20 points wins the game. So I would lean under, especially when that beautiful trophy's on the line when they play. So give me Minnesota, and I will take the under, Cole. I know you like the over.
7.5 on you can go to ESPN Bet right now and get Iowa minus 7.5. Well, Chauncey Billups can't, but regular people can.
Wow.
Easy.
Wow.
Easy. Throwing that out there
Well, Chauncey
really
still
quick.
can. It'd probably be frowned upon.
Hey, I have a
depending on
quick
what state
question.
he's in.
I have a quick question for both of you guys. How many times a football season do you have to walk outside of the door of your hotel to see what room number you're in when you're trying to log on to the internet?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually thought about it when I went downstairs to get coffee today, and I've been pretty good at remembering. I haven't had to do it. I usually just take a picture of the room number and keep it on my phone, because I know I'm going to always have my phone. But I feel like I'm undefeated this year, which is progress for me. I feel really good about it.
You're almost referencing more even being able to find your room, much less having to go look what number it is so you can log on to the internet. But that's a win.
Yeah, because Greg, he doesn't have to worry about coming to Vanderbilt. He never comes to Nashville for Vanderbilt games. He only does A++++ games. So we're out here, Cole. We don't know where we're going to be every week. Greg just goes to the best game every week.
Well, I passed him in first class getting on the plane last night, so I get it. So.
Hey, you know what? That's apparently the best game every week is played at some poker table in New York. I didn't know about it,
boy.
but
it's a great transition and change the subject by you.
We settle for second. We settle for second, third, fourth, fifth best game. But yeah, I like our game this week. I like our game every week. I like Cole's game most weeks. I like your game that you go to 90% of the time. Where are you going next week?
Yeah. That's the magic question, Greg. If you want, you could zoom into our call that we have, and when those decisions are made, I do not make that decision, but there are plenty of conversations to be had next week. And week 12? Next week and week 12 are very, very intriguing when you look at the schedule and what college football brings to the table.
Well, we appreciate you, Steve, as always. Thanks for hopping on, man. Yeah.
All right, man. You guys, appreciate you.
All right, Stanford Steve, brought to us each and every week by Atlas Senior Living. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. When we come back, former Crimson Tide player and now Alabama A&M head football coach Sam Shade joins us to preview the Magic City Classic next on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 7:47 Friday, October 24th, right here on Jocks. Tomorrow at 1:30 on ESPN Plus at Historic Legion Field, the Magic City Classic will be played. 4-2 Alabama State, 4-3 Alabama A&M, and I'm most interested to ask our next guest, the new head football coach of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, Sam Shade. What will be going through your mind when you walk into that venue? Because you've had some pretty special memories in that place. What do you think that's going to conjure up just when you step back into that historic stadium?
Well, guys, first off, man, thanks for having me. Yes, going to Legion Field, man, it's gonna bring up a lot of memories. I played Little League championships there, high school games, 2 SEC championship games there, and a few games against Auburn. So it's definitely going to be a special day for me to step on that field, leading the Alabama A&M Bulldogs against Alabama State.
We always are curious, like, would you have a rivalry like this? I mean, you got First Take from there. You got massive following, people from all over the country coming in town to watch it. Like, do you feel an extra level of pressure to just go out and perform at a high level? How do you make sure the guys treat it as though it's just some other game?
Well, what we try to do with our team, and we do it in the off season all the way up to this point, is basically we're always preparing, and we've had good preparation for this ball game. I had a bye week last week, and got some good practices in this week. So we feel like we're ready, we're confident, so not really nervous or feeling pressure, just excited about being on that stage and getting a chance, getting an opportunity to perform.
Sam Shade, Alabama A&M head football coach, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to preview the Magic City Classic. Every week, Coach, I look, and it's like Cornelius Brown, 300 yards, 280 yards, a couple of rushing touchdowns. But he's protected the football this year, 7 touchdowns to 1 interception. How critical is that in a game like this when momentum is going to be massive? Crowd involvement, emotions are going to be high. How important is it for him to continue protecting the football against this Alabama State defense?
Well, we've got to protect the football, definitely offensively. But Cornelius Brown, he's actually not going to play in this ball game. He had an ankle injury, and he's been out for a couple weeks. But Eric Hanley, who's right here from Birmingham, played at Pleasant Grove High School. He's actually stepped in and done a really good job. He's had a couple games where he's thrown for over 300 yards, and he's done a good job of leading our offense. And so we're excited about him getting the opportunity. And but the biggest thing is, you're right, we've got to protect the football.
Looking at what you guys roll defensively, it feels like you guys got pretty decent depth. Like, I'm talking to these coaches every single week. Like, man, we don't have no depth on the D-line. Like, we got to make sure our top guys play. You guys are spreading the reps out pretty good. How are you able in this day and age to accumulate as much depth as you've had defensively, where you just have a handful of guys that you're capable of kind of rolling in depending on the situation?
Well, that just boils down to recruiting. Going out, and our assistant coaching staff, I commend them on doing a good job of going out, especially in year one, and accumulating players, because we lost some players when we got there to the transfer portal, guys that transferred up to FBS schools. But, we feel like we've done an okay job of replacing those guys.
Sam Shade with us on the Higginbotham Hotline. One other thing about your offense, Coach, you have 8 players that have scored multiple touchdowns this year. How have you been able to sort of derive that mindset of spreading the wealth offensively?
Well, that's a credit to our offensive staff. Our offense coordinator, Dennis Alexander, does a great job along with the rest of the staff of game planning. And, and we've had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup because of injuries this year. So being able to spread the ball around, that really helps us offensively, because, if we lose a guy, we just keep on going.
What will be your pregame routine tomorrow, Coach? Knowing first time, obviously back, first opportunity to coach in this game as the head coach. Are you going to do something maybe a little different in pregame as just your individual process to kind of just make sure you capture the moment, take it in, absorb it, and just appreciate it for a moment?
Well, I don't see myself doing that. It's pretty much the same routine every pregame. I just get out there and walk around the field, just get a feel for it, sit on the bench by myself for a few minutes, take it all in, and then get back in there and put on my coaching gear, and it's time to go.
You think you and Schelling will meet up at over on the bench and have Iron Bowl discussions at some point?
Man, Chris Schelling, man, my assistant head coach, defense coordinator, man. Yeah, we played against each other 4 years in the Iron Bowl. So, yeah, I think we'll sit there for a minute and kind of reminisce.
Man, it's going to be so cool just to be a part of it. I know this, even as a player at Auburn, I just remember how much this game was talked about growing up in Birmingham as well, attending it a few times. It's just, it means so much to so many people. Greg asked you about pregame. During the game, have you and your staff had any conversations about emotions, momentum, when those big swings come, maybe how to have conversations about them, how to manage things either on the sideline, in the locker room at halftime?
Well, we have, but the good thing is we've had those discussions before previous games. We're just coming off of our homecoming game where we had a big crowd and a lot of people tailgating, similar but not quite the Magic City Classic. So, we've kind of dealt with it. We played down in Mobile in a Classic game. So we've talked about those things with our players, and I think the coaches have done a good job of getting that point across.
What would you say is the most important part schematically, what you guys need to do well to take advantage of what State will be potentially running at you? Offense, let's start offensively. What is the number one priority outside of, protect the ball and things like that?
Well, the number one priority offensively for us to, give us a chance in the ball game is we've got to be able to establish the running game. That's going to be big for us. We've been able to throw the ball around, but, you look at the games that we've lost, we have not run the ball successfully. So that's the number one thing offensively outside of not turning it over.
Well, Coach, it's going to be a fun atmosphere, fun environment. I know the city gets behind it every year, gets excited about it. We appreciate you hopping on. It's good to catch up with you. Congrats on the job. We haven't spoken with you since you've got it, and good luck tomorrow.
Guys, I appreciate it, man. Hey, if you're in town, make sure you get out there and get in the stadium, man. Hey, it's a 2:30 kickoff.
There you go, 2:30, Magic City Classic at Legion Field. You can watch it on ESPN+. Sam Shea joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to help preview it. Appreciate him stopping in. One of those keys, G-Mac, going to be Andrew Brody, quarterback for Alabama State. 1,387 yards passing, 423 rushing, 15 passing touchdowns to 1 interception on the year. So
amazing. Both
quarterbacks that had been playing most of the year for these two teams protecting the football. Andrew Brody will be playing in this game, and he has protected the ball as well. So it's one of the great rivalries in this sport, and one that I know the city gets excited about, gets behind, gets into. It's going to be cool. And you got a first-year head coach in it. See how it plays out for Sam Shea. But I can only imagine having played in multiple Iron Bowls there, 2 SEC championship games there, numerous other regular season games there, and growing up playing your Pee Wee football, high school football games there, to walk inside that stadium. Sam Shea, one of the best to play at Winona High School. So that's gonna conjure up some memories there, I can only imagine.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. I mean, to have played there, have been in big games there, to have memories there, and now to be coaching there in one of the largest rivalries, biggest rivalries that you'll find in college football is pretty dang special.
We've got a lot more college football to get to as the show rolls on. Hour number 2 will continue our players to watch for big games coming up this weekend. We've only made it through a couple. We have a lot more that we need to discuss. We'll break down Auburn, Arkansas. Obviously going to break down Alabama, South Carolina. My game here in Lexington. Greg's game in Norman. A lot more to go right here on Jocks.